Good afternoon. So I'm going to be talking about this issue with Biden, his cognitive decline, with some new information that came out today, or maybe last night. You see, I didn't understand why some people were saying that the Biden administration and some Democrats hate America. People were saying that, they hate America. I think what I understood it as, the globalists don't care about, they're not loyal to any particular country, as I've said before. So I'm going to play this information that just came across recently. And it's Senator Johnson talking about an important issue. I'm going to play it now.
Without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked. I became Speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand. Liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
Okay. Now, that's disturbing. I don't know what you think, but it certainly was disturbing to hear that. To hear that I already had this view of Joe Biden being a puppet for the DS. I'm going to use that abbreviation for now on for deep state. Those behind the scenes, okay? I mean, because somebody's pulling his strings. Somebody, it's almost like a ventriloquist is there, and they're just getting Trump or Biden to say or do whatever. But you see, I remember saying in 2020, because I remember the Democrat primary, because I had voted for Tulsi in the Democrat primary. And I recall that everybody was running, and it was really pretty early in the primaries. So I think they had Iowa and then New Hampshire, those two, I think. I forget. There's only a couple done. And then all of a sudden, all of the candidates dropped out, and it was just, they all supported Biden. It just became a thing that all of a sudden it's Biden forever, support Biden. And I thought that was very strange, because Biden, he's been around for ages and eons in the government, and I did not think, and in Congress and everything else, and I thought, he's not the best candidate. He definitely isn't the best candidate. And even by that time, in 2019, in 2020, we knew that his cognitive decline was starting to show. We noticed it. Certain things he was saying and all that. We knew at that time that he was going down that road of decline. And I remember saying back then, when he was chosen and people were asking, telling me, why did they choose Biden? There were so many to choose from, so many much better candidates. And I remember saying to my friends, well, he's a puppet. He's the easiest one to, do whatever, how did I put it? So, because he'd be the easiest to manipulate. Definitely happened. I just didn't realize the gravity of my words then. And it's just starting to come to me now, this discovery, this revelation. After listening to Johnson's words right here, he didn't know what he signed. He thought he signed a study on natural gas. First off, he wasn't even sure what he was talking about. How many bills, documents, executive orders were set in front of Biden these 4 years, where they told him it was for certain things, like a study, and deceived him, and he signed all of these executive orders, all of these things. He signed them. He thought he was doing the right thing. And I think this is really and this is valid, because every time you would see him talking, he always had to use the teleprompter, because his words were mumbling, because his mind was going. And even as, this last portion, the farewell speech, he really thought he was doing a good job. He really believed that everything he put through was the right thing. Perhaps all of the things that were thrust in front of him to sign, oh yes, this will be good for you, this and that, and it's for this and this and that. In reality, it wasn't. And he thinks that all the things he signed were what he signed and what he thought they were for. And of course, what they did in that coup afterwards, and I'm not quite sure why, other than, they outed him at that first Trump and him when they did the debate in the summer. And I thought, okay, they want to try somebody else because everybody knows, or he was just declined. I don't know, but the DOJ said they could not put him in court to testify or anything like that because he was not cognitively able to do that. And everybody didn't bother to talk about that or say, oh, wait a minute, that's a big deal. So who was the one, what was really said is what was signed. I mean, what was really put out there was what we saw and was signed. And some of the stuff maybe he never really agreed with. We don't know, but I do know that this sounds like they got away with a lot of stuff. Whoever these people are behind the scenes who have been running his presidency, literally, where this president had little autonomy. I mean, we always know that the deep state, the DS, those people who in power are always the ones that are trying to make the moves and do everything by, cajoling the president to do this or that or whatever. Sometimes not even telling the president. A lot of that has happened in foreign policy. So that's quite disturbing, distressing, and quite evil and sinister to do that to somebody. And he was their perfect puppet, their perfect candidate. Because they knew they could do whatever they wanted and use him as the prop, the facade. He's here, and then, you just put a cardboard cutout of the president there, and that's that. So these people who are doing these kind of things obviously do not care about America. That's why I said, these people said that they hate America, these Biden administration, all that, and these other people, Blinken, and they're horrible. But they have no loyalty. Remember, loyalty is now a bad word for these people who have no ties or loyalty to their own country. They don't care about the American people. They don't have any. They do not serve the people, as we know. What they do is they are interested in money and power, as we've said. But now it seems even more impacting now for me after this. So, they don't care about the American people. That's why everything was crumbling in America and people are suffering. These people don't care because they have no loyalty. Loyalty is important. You know what loyalty means? When I looked it up, I looked up the meaning of loyalty, and there's a couple of words that came to mind there that it showed. Faithfulness, devotion to a person, country, group, or cause. These people don't have that. I know I was listening to Barry today, and he said they're mercenaries. They just take money, which I think is exactly right. They don't care about, their God is money, their idol, it's an idol. Their God is money, their God is power. And these people just don't have the quality. Loyalty is traditionally a virtue. And you see why. Faithfulness, devotion, what you need in a relationship. And people like that do not have honest, real relationships. But they kept using that against Trump. Oh, yeah, he wants people loyal to him. It's terrible. They're going to do whatever they want. Of course, the other day he's going to do all these illegal things. No, everything they say is projecting what they've done and what they do. So, who are these people behind the scenes? We don't know. They don't make themselves known, but we have ideas, of course, but can't say for sure. But Blinken and Sullivan and all these people, they haven't been doing what we can say they haven't really been doing anything to help the people of this country. Their allegiances aren't to their own country. Their allegiances, as I said, are to money and whatever goals globally. So the fact that a lot of these things, the executive orders and everything, all this stuff that was horrible that was signed and all these things, I mean, I think they threw in a couple of things that weren't bad. I guess to make it look more authentic, that it could be Biden. And maybe some of them they allowed Biden to sign, so that's what he thinks, And you don't know, but that would make sense. You got to throw a little truth in there with the lies. That's how manipulative, deceptive vipers work. That's my new favorite word, vipers. Been using it a lot, but really works. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And thanks for watching. Please follow my channel, like my videos, get me out there on the videos and algorithms and things. Share my videos, share my channel. And I appreciate everything, all your support and watching and following. Until next time.